right. Welcome to Monday.
Oh, yes.
Mom, Dad's being weird again.
Luscious.
Honey,
So full.
it's just grass.
Oh, it's so much more than just grass. It's a healthier, greener, and more luscious lawn. Yours can be too.
Look at you.
With Kabursky Brothers Lawn Care.
Remember, no shoes on the lawn. Because you're so beautiful.
Call or click today.
The iconic Paul McCartney got back live. A once-in-a-lifetime must-see event. Paul McCartney performing a catalogue of music that's formed the soundtracks of our lives. Casey's Centre, October 14th. Get tickets now at highvtix.com.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru, live and on demand across Iowa everywhere from the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy, connected by Cellular Advantage.
Murph and Andy football season. Here we go. 69 degrees out. Feels like football season. And for Andy, for me, it's a 50-degree swing from yesterday morning when I left Las Vegas.
Everybody kind of back in their places. We had Iowa everywhere this past week. I mean, just spread out all over the place. The last show we did, I was in St. Louis. You were in Las Vegas. Andrew was in Iowa. A bunch of people were in Ireland. Hassel was back here in Iowa. We just had, it was like a shotgun blast. We sent everybody out all over the place, but we're back in place and ready to really hit the gas.
Let's hit the gas. Guest House Tavern, the Gas Guest House Tavern, and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table. Sports and more today coming up. Dublin Dub, Campbell Hype, and Butt Sniffer. All coming up. That's from the Guest House Tavern.
Butt Sniffer's
That's a rough
back.
menu right there.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, that is. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah,
Sorry about that, Guest House Tavern.
It's not
That is not
appetizing.
available on the menu. There are nightly specials, though, including Kentucky Fried Tuesdays. That's fried chicken and sides, half off. Select bourbon pours. That is on Tuesdays. Right now, it's Monday and high or low since the last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax is the place you can turn to for answers to all different questions that you've got about your savings, the stock market, your retirement accounts, your tax situation, all that kind of stuff. They can make it very simple and then streamline your portfolio so that you're paying as few taxes as possible and you're maximizing on your profits. I had a fantastic weekend.
Good.
It was a perfect weekend. I needed to go home for a number of reasons, back to St. Louis to get some stuff, a few different things. So, and I went by myself, made you a little bit more mobile, certainly. So the first night I stayed with my brother and sister-in-law, and we went out on the town and went to some old Fales family favorites. Ended after an amazing dinner. We went over to Ted Drew's, which is an iconic St. Louis stop. The home of frozen custard.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
invented at the 1904 World's Fair. And this is a St. Louis institution. And there were so many Friday night Fales family dinners that ended with us all talking my dad into taking us to Ted Drew's. And my grandfather grew up just around the street. This is South Side St. Louis, old school. And it didn't take much, but we took him over there and just kind of with a toast to our old man, we took a picture out front there and traded a bunch of good stories about him and our days when we would go there together. And it was still just as great as possible. The next day, I moved over to my best friend from high school, Scott, and Tracy, his wife. We went over and I stayed with him, watched the football game, and then we went out on the town, like more old school stuff. This is a St. Louis original. This is a St. Paul sandwich. it's ironic because it's only served in St. Louis. This is an egg foo young patty. This is it. You got to go to a really shitty Chinese restaurant. That's the first thing you got to do. Like the worst.
I don't think I've ever seen this or heard of it.
It's a bunch of eggs scrambled up together with a bunch of bean sprouts and green onions and chopped up ham or chicken or pork, whatever you want to put in there.
And it's good because it doesn't sound good.
And then they put it in a ladle and they drop it into a big pot of hot oil. And so it fries. It's an egg foo young patty. Egg foo young is old school Chinese American, very popular in these places in St. Louis. And then they take that and they put it on a piece of just plain ass white bread.
It's like you're still at the state fair.
Yeah, kind of. And with some mayo and pickles and lettuce and tomatoes. And then they make a sandwich out of it with another piece of white bread. They're like $2. But they're delicious. It shouldn't work, but it just totally does. And we just had a great time there. And then top that day off with some St. Louis pizza at Shotzi's, kind of a dive bar, great place where Uncle Marty used to work.
This isn't the place you delivered with the soon-to-be serial killer.
No. This is not Emo's. This is Shotzi's. Still St. Louis-style pizza. But, yeah, Uncle Marty, he'd work at Shotzi's, and he'd step out and back for a cigarette, maybe rip a joint or something, and he'd go back in and keep working that kitchen there. So we had the best time. We just went all around old St. Louis and just talked and stopped for beers at a bunch of dive bars and just had an amazing time. The weather was perfect. Drove home, got up early yesterday morning and drove back, and beautiful trip home with no problems. So it was a perfectly executed, quick weekend back to St. Louis for me.
I'm going high on a Monday as well, and it's just the start of college football season, and then just being with a big group watching college football. And we were at Circa, and the place was packed. They have this huge, the Iowa State, Kansas State game, as you'd expect, was on the main screen, and they had a lot of people there. The seats were full for most of the game because it's the start of college football, and people are just into it and invested, and the cheers go up, and it's kind of like the difference between watching a movie at home by yourself and being in a crowded movie theater. So that was just so much fun there, and got to hang out with just friends and family and just had a great time. And it's exciting to get the college football season started. We had fun, and we were treated really well there, and it was expensive, but not like the Strip. So I think I'm a Fremont Street convert at this point because the Strip has just gotten away from the average person. I mean, even the average person saving for the Strip, it's way away. So Canopy of Lights, you can see in this photo we're watching right now, you can see a White Castle. We had pizza at Evel Knievel's Pizza. So there are just, it's still expensive, but it's probably less than half of what it costs when you're on the Strip. And then this was cool to see just at Stadium Swim, that ginormous outdoor swimming facility, just seeing the game replayed up on the big screen there.
What's the cover to get in there?
$30 if you're not staying at Circa. It's free if you're a guest to get into Stadium
it's free?
Swim.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's you got to take those opportunities when you can.
Free, or you can then get like a $12 beer and a $25 grilled cheese sandwich, but it's still
$12 beer is cheap in Vegas.
It is better on that side of Vegas, but we had a great time, and it's good to have college football here. Let's get the buzz. Let's get to it.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
Logier Heating and Cooling, just having a non-heating and cooling type day today. You don't need either. You can just open up the windows and enjoy this weather.
Love it. Same inside as outside. Yeah, they're probably taking a little vacay day.
All right, so it all looks possible now for Iowa State. When you go and play a game like this in Ireland, I was really thinking about this yesterday. If you win, it's all worth it. The travel's worth it. Mm-hmm. The fans had a fantastic time. You could see the players looked as excited or more excited than even after a bowl win because your whole season is still in front of you. Iowa State gets to sit on top of the Big 12 standings now for a month. You beat a top 20 team. You now have wins over ranked teams back-to-back for the first time in more than 50 years. Beat Miami to end last season. Beat Kansas State to start this season. That hadn't happened in more than 50 years for Iowa State football. So you have that. You have fans that are so excited. You're going to have what is arguably the most anticipated season opener at Jack Trice Stadium. Fans are now juiced because they feel like they can win the Big 12 conference. And you got Iowa at home the following week. So, Andy, if you play this game and you win, it's all worth it, and everyone is happy and excited and glad they did it. If you are Kansas State today, you wish you had not gone to Ireland.
Yeah, they gave up a game, a home game. Their fans spent a ton of money and are, suddenly more concerned about the money that they spent, and maybe they won't spend that later on. You put yourself in a hole with a loss to a ranked team, and you had a long plane ride, which I can't imagine what that could not have been fun at all for those fans. But that's what it's supposed to be, right? I mean, it's supposed to be a gamble, a little bit of risk taking, and that's what makes the reward so much better when you do win. If you're not risking anything, then it's really not a competition. It's not there's no drama. So I think it's probably something that still in retrospect people got, had their fun with it.
Sure.
They'll find some redeeming things about it. But, just the whole complexion of the thing. I mean, this becomes one of the great trips that Iowa State fans have ever taken with their football team.
Absolutely. If you talk to or read anybody's comments who was there, they say it's one of the greatest times of their life. I mean, it was a big win for Iowa State. It was a big win for Cyclone fans, for Matt Campbell, for Rocco Becht. And it's also a big win for the Big 12. I mean, the stadium was full. It holds just over 47,000 for American football, and there were more than 47,000 fans there. And Kansas State fans showed up strong. Iowa State fans showed up strong. There were some local fans sprinkled in. And these two teams had most of the national conversation leading up to Saturday. And that's good for the Big 12. And then after a first half that absolutely did not convert any Irish people to American football, because that was a rough watch. It took forever. It was 7-7. It was sloppy. It was raining. But the second half turned entertaining, highly entertaining.
Certainly the fourth quarter was just
fourth quarter was great.
Great. This wasn't to win over new fans, I don't think.
No.
If they hung on that long, they did ultimately go away, maybe feeling like American football was pretty good. But, yeah, I agree. The first half.
Ooh, it was a tough watch.
And it's funny how, your entire opinion of a game can just change by the last minute, the way that it ends. I mean, if it's the team that you have interest in, if they find a way to win, then anything else doesn't matter. If you're a team that lost, then, I mean, oh my God, every bit of the game was miserable for Kansas State fans. The execution was really poor. There were a bunch of turnovers. The field sucked. You couldn't see the paint lines. The weather was shitty. I mean, everything about it was bad. And then for Iowa State, it's like it was all good, even though the conditions were exactly the same.
Right. All in how you frame it. And do you think there was an Irish football fan? I think I saw Chris Williams with a photo of his dad, like talking to somebody from Ireland, trying to explain American football.
I was always a little concerned by those photos.
Yeah, if you've ever tried to explain football to somebody, our football, to somebody who doesn't know football, you quickly realize, this is impossible. I don't know how I'm going to do this. They're just going to have to watch and hope that they catch on. But do you think there was anybody from Ireland that watched like the first half and thought, 2 hours have gone by? Yeah, that was a pretty good game. Oh, no, we still have a 20-minute halftime and another 2 hours coming up. I know you're used to 2-hour football games here in Ireland. No, that was just the first half. We have another 100 commercials we need to squeeze in.
I mean, I know that American football permeates the world culture.
Sure.
And, regardless of what everybody else is watching in the time that they can control. But, I mean, it's there. It is a game that's kind of hard to understand, but you're not explaining cricket, to an American, where it's like a game that you've just never seen and really have no frame of reference on. I mean, they have an idea. It's sort of like rugby. They know rugby very well.
Mm-hmm.
They probably are close. Their understanding of football is probably, comparable to. It's better than our understanding of rugby. I would think. I would think it would be. Americans.
There are some similarities, though. You're right.
Yeah. So I think that they probably understood that it's not all perfect execution. I mean, soccer and rugby aren't. But, you want to see the pomp and circumstance at halftime. If you make it through that show, you get into the, later in the second half, you start seeing something. I bet they converted a few fans.
We go to the rewind now and bring in Andrew Downs, producer of Murph and Andy. So, AD, help us with the rewind. What do we have here? We have audio from Learfield. So this is going to be voice of the Cyclones, John Walters.
Yep, exactly. Audio from Learfield, video from David Warrington at WHO 13.
David Warrington in Ireland, international trip. Thank goodness he had a passport. He went over there and he just did a outstanding job for us at WHO 13. We appreciate that. We appreciate Learfield providing us with the audio. So let's get to the rewind here as Iowa State scores the first touchdown of the college football season.
Becht from the shotgun. Here comes pressure. He throws for the end zone. Right side. Caught. Touchdown. Dominic Overby.
That was a beautiful pass. Like Beck didn't have a great first half, but that was nice. And that was also good because it got passed around the entire social media world as the first touchdown of the college football season. And we were with some guy at Circa that had put a first touchdown of the college football season bet on Overby, right? It's Overby that scored that. I'm still learning these new names. Like that's the kind of thing that keeps you coming back. But how in the world could you predict that?
Maybe he bet a bunch of other guys too, and those didn't come through. And the only one anybody's talking about is the one that worked out. But yeah, I mean that was coming after some bad overthrows, some bad passes. I mean, he did not
holding
have
the ball too long.
Did not have a good first half. But in that instance, I mean, he kind of shows you why Rocco Becht is held in such high regard. I mean, this guy can step up as well as any Iowa State quarterback has ever been able to, maybe better than anyone has ever been able to. He may be
in the moment.
In the moment, Rocco Becht has come through more than he hasn't. And that was a beautiful pass. And you look at that and you're like, okay, yeah, he's a good quarterback. There's a lot of rust right now, but in the moment when it really counts, that's a perfect pass.
Yeah, that is how you get to an elevated status as a quarterback, is you rise to the moment. And that's what Rocco Becht did. If you just look at the stat lines of Kansas State's Avery Johnson and Rocco Becht, they had similar games, and Johnson actually had more passing yards because he hit those two big bombs, 60-plus yards, when Iowa State was burned with that young secondary. But if you say who outplayed who, it's easy because Becht made the big plays in the big moments in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, and Avery Johnson did not. I mean, he made some good plays, but the biggest play of his game, he gets stopped by Jamison Patton, short of that first down.
And Rocco Becht in the second half just really looked like he was the quarterback. He was the Iowa State offense. It was going to run through him. He was going to make all the decisions on the field. And in many of those plays, it just kind of broke apart. It was just him versus the K-State defense. And, we're reminded of all the things that he can do. He can short dump it. He can throw it precision. He can run it on his own. He can outrun a guy to beat a guy around the corner, and he can lower his shoulder and get a couple extra tough yards too. So, I mean, it was on him, and he came through.
Rocco Becht is 12-3 in his past 15 games He has 8 career games with a passing and rushing touchdown, and now 19 straight games with a touchdown pass. Here's another one from the second half.
Beck fires for the end zone. Eskilson's out there. Caught. Touchdown! Brett Eskilson from Rocco Beck. An absolutely perfect throw.
Another perfect throw, Eskilson. Gonna have to learn
some
of these new names.
I was looking at it, I was like, now how in the world am I going to pronounce that one? Eskilson or Eskilson? Yeah, we got to figure it out. But that pass was even better. I mean, that coverage, you can't cover a guy much
Had
better
good
than
coverage.
that. He's got his arm up where it needs to be. I mean, he's covering him legally, and he just drops it right in there with about a foot to spare in the corner of the end zone. And, just those 2 passes right there, that's all it takes. This isn't a run and shoot offense. This is with this college football team in this conference like this, I mean, 2 plays like that, and that can be the difference in a game, and it was.
Good position there both times by David Warrington, too. He is right where the touchdown pass is. Nice job, David. And then Rocco Becht to the ground to put Iowa State up by 10.
And Becht will run it. Roskop gave him a block. Touchdown! Rocco Becht! What a great play call by Taylor Mauser.
Taylor Mauser had himself a second half.
He really did.
The play designs were terrific. Like they did some. Now they put it all on tape for Iowa to see, which you don't normally have to do in your first game or two, but you have to play this game to win it. So they showed some of those wrinkles they have, and that was just another great play call there. And Andy, the thing I think many of us were wondering in the second and third quarters as Abu Sama was carrying the football and the only one. We saw Carson Hansen in the first quarter. I mean, we were asking each other, I don't know if this was going on where you were, we're like, is Carson Hansen hurt? Did he get injured? Did I miss that? And then he comes in the fourth quarter, and K-State, despite having that great defensive line, they're starting to get tired. This is the first game. It's international travel. You've only been there a couple of days. Suddenly, he's got fresh legs, and he's punishing some guys and getting loose in the fourth quarter. And I'm not positive that was by design, but if it was by design to have him come in there, it was like a fresh legs hammer, it worked.
The Cyclones' offensive line got better as the game went on, and by late in the second half, they were playing really good football, and that was really impressive. But I don't know. I was listening to Ben Bruns and Aiden Wyatt do the Cyclone Sunday podcast yesterday on my way home from St. Louis, and Bruns just kind of threw it out there, and as people are wondering why would you do that? You come out with Carson Hansen, and then you sit him down altogether, and then go to Abu Sama, and then you just bring Carson Hansen in, and he plays the entire fourth quarter. Why do you do that? And he, didn't know. He wasn't in the room with Matt Campbell, but he just guessing. That was the game plan. You're gonna get the first quarter, and then the other guy gets the second and third, and then you bring the first quarter guy back in with a fresh set of legs in the fourth quarter. Whatever it did, it ended up working. I mean, the whole second half. The entire running game really turned around. There were just more holes. It looked like they had, figured some things out, and their legs looked pretty fresh. Abu Sama looked as good as we've seen him look in a while, I thought. So it by the end of the game, it looked like that Iowa State offense had more than enough weapons, didn't it? Right, to go through this season. I mean, I feel like Cyclone fans are feeling like. And some of these guys were just still figuring out how to pronounce their name. But bottom line, I mean, it seems like we can do a lot of different things with this offense. We're feeling pretty good about the Big 12 now.
Yeah, there were some defensive improvements for sure. You got some of that depth back, got the linebackers back from injury, all of that. But you also gave up 2 long bombs. And I know, and I understand many people said, well, other than those 2 60-yard touchdowns, the defense was pretty good. Well, that's a little bit of, other than the assassination, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah, but I mean didn't it feel that way though?
Plays like that.
Just being able to stop them on fourth down, third and fourth downs. I mean, they really looked like a kind of a bend don't break defense, except in the two plays where they broke. I mean, they broke.
That's a big except. But I do think that those 2 big plays had something to do with Matt Campbell saying, let's not kick the field goal here. First of all, it's a slick field. Already have had a missed field goal. If you make the field goal, you go up by 6, and it feels like there's a pretty good chance Avery Johnson can find enough receivers, open receivers, to get down the field and win the game 28-27. So Matt Campbell goes for it on 4th down, and then even though it looks like a touchdown, it's overturned, which ends up helping Iowa State, hurting Kansas State, and hurting anybody who took the over on the bet, because it all pivots on that one play, and they just kneel it down. And let's hear it now. Voice of the Cyclones, John Walters.
And now Beck takes a knee, and that is going to do it. How about these Cyclones? Career victory number 100 for Matt Campbell as the Cyclones win the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. In a classic over Kansas State, 24-21. They have won 5 of the last 6 in this series.
Yeah, Matt Campbell just owns Chris Kleiman and K-State at this point. That's 3 in a row, 5 of 6.
We'll get back to that in just a second here. But yeah, if any of the Irishmen are complaining about the football game, that's the crux of their argument right there.
The kneel downs? That
it ended that way, right? I mean, he's inches from another touchdown, which is the whole point of football. And they don't take it. They don't even take a chance at it. You're like, oh, you're just going to run the clock out? Run the clock out? Well, they do that in other sports too. But I mean, it's so anticlimactic. It's so against the spirit of the game. No one likes it except everybody that, comes to the realization that you're there to win the game, and you can feel 180 degrees opposite if something goes wrong and you cough it up there, and then Kansas State goes down and scores. It was kind of disappointing. I was hoping that he was going to get it, because they flashed over as soon as they reviewed that. I'm like, oh man, they're going to reverse this thing,
and they did, yeah.
And then they flash over to Hansen on the sidelines, and he's disappointed that he didn't get all the way into the end zone. But then it starts kind of unfolding, and you're like,
they can run the clock out.
This man actually work out a little bit better. But back to Matt Campbell and in Kansas State, Chris Kleiman. I have got to. We all picked Kansas State to win this game. The 3 of us did, right?
Yep.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
We did. Yeah, we did. We talked about it. I mean, we're
accountable. I thought they'd win a close game.
And there were other people that were in a subjective position that picked Kansas State. They were ranked higher. What we saw, what needed to happen last year at Jack Trice Stadium. I mean, there were a lot of logical reasons to believe that Kansas State was going to win this game. But as I started thinking about it, we don't know anything. This is the first game of the season. We're just going on, assumptions, right? And past history, to make this pick, like a gut feeling. And it is time for me, at least, you guys do what you want, but it is time for me to consider Matt Campbell's history before I consider Iowa State's history.
That's difficult because over decades, the conditioning does set in. I know this about myself.
There's no way for it not to. I mean, if you've seen it, you've seen it, right? If you remember it, you remember it. It has a little bit of space in your brain. 25 years of watching Cyclone football. And in many of those years, most of those years, right, we became conditioned to watching them blow it, in one way or another.
They used to find ways to lose games. Now they find ways to win games.
I mean, I am, and so when I am picking a game going in where the season hasn't started yet, I don't really know. You don't know how well they're going to make up for guys they've lost, how well new guys are going to fit in. It's the first game of the season. I'm still prone to looking at the 25-year history when I envision an upcoming Cyclone game. I mean, at least going into that, it's time for me to stop doing that. Matt Campbell's program has nothing to do with Paul Rhodes's programs or Dan McCarney's programs. They're completely disconnected. They played on the same field. It's probably not even the same field. So much has changed there. He's had his share of bad games and missed opportunities, like every coach. Matt Campbell has had some of those, but by and large, they have made game-deciding field goals. They have made big plays on 3rd and 4th down. Both offense and defense has made the big plays when they needed to. They have won games on the road that Iowa State teams of the past would not have won. And they have had consistent play at quarterback under Matt Campbell, which is huge. And they have owned K-State. It's
the biggest conference rival in football.
Matt Campbell's teams with me, probably with others, deserve a 5-year scope of history, not a 25-year scope of history. This is a different program. Everything is different. When Iowa goes to play Minnesota, I think Kirk Ferentz's teams play well against Minnesota most of the time. I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and pick Iowa over Minnesota, and I do that. I have to do that with Iowa State and K-State. That is more recent and probably more convincing than Iowa and Minnesota, or at least so the benefit of the doubt. It's hard when you've been wrong or really seen like really bad meltdowns. You've seen things that really hurt fans, and they're probably still not completely over. It's hard to forget that kind of stuff and not have it affect your predictions.
Yeah, the kick to the stones.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is still part of me that wonders, okay, well,
get the cup.
Now you better take care of South Dakota, right? Because wouldn't that rank right up there in the all-time kicks to the stones if somehow or another they came back and lost that? But, look, that's not Matt Campbell teams that have done that. Certainly not recent Matt Campbell teams that have done that. I've seen him play some bad games. That Kansas game was terrible, but
seen some slow starts. This wasn't one of them.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of. They had a slow start in this game.
Yeah, the game, not the season, but the game for sure.
No,
first half.
Not this season. We have seen him turn the luxury cruise liner ship, the cargo ship, around. It's taken some time. It's been a little rocky at times, but it's turned around.
The single thing I liked the most about this game was Matt Campbell played to win. He did not play to not lose. He played to win. Like if you talk to a Hawkeye fan about last year's Iowa State game, that game drove them crazy because Kirk Ferentz played to not lose, and it ended up biting him. Matt Campbell was aggressively trying to win this game, and Iowa State was 3 for 3 on 4th downs. There's a lot of things you can say. There's the game right there, but it's hard to top this one. Iowa State's 3 for 3 on 4th downs. Kansas State was 1 for 3 on 4th downs. Iowa State made those big plays, and Andy, on the ride home from Dublin, Matt Campbell rode in a row by himself. He flew in a row by himself because he needed an extra seat for his balls. That's how much he went for it over there in Dublin. And if you're a fan, you got to love that.
Except for the last series, right?
Well, that's strategy, though.
Yeah,
that's strategy.
You're
running the clock out. You're running the clock out. That's different. Hey, here's post-game from the game from WHO 13's David Warrington in Dublin.
So obviously a great play by Rocco, great play by Carson to extend that, to put us into that situation, and that's kind of why we went for it. We felt like if we had a chance to gain the first down, we could win the football game. So, great execution, and you trust the guy next to you because you know what he stands for.
It definitely gives me confidence in knowing that they have the trust in me to go out there and make the big play. as well as our whole entire offense. I think the whole entire offense did a really good job today. Obviously, knowing that we do have new parts at receiver, a couple of changes at offensive line, and obviously our running backs are back and they played great today. So I think there's a collective group of us that know that we can play better than today, and know that we need to get to work come Saturday. Knowing Iowa State, we're always going to be close games, one-score games. And honestly, I have to do a better job of not letting that happen because I want to win by more than that and not have the defense pulled up a bunch of stops for us to go down the field and keep scoring. So I think as an offense, like I said, we have to collectively get better and not be in these positions come further in the season.
To me, one of the great things is our fan base is really special. It's what makes this place really special, being around our program through really tough days and to have these great moments and be able to give them these opportunities to celebrate. It means a lot to all of us. And so I think it's why it's really special to play football here right now at Iowa State, because it's about all of us. The only way we have a chance to even win here is it's going to take everybody, the fan base, the players, the coaches, all pulling in the same direction at the same time. And I think you got to see that a little bit tonight.
Yeah,
I think
Iowa
that's
State
true.
Iowa State has won 7 of 8 in one-score games. I mean, that's a kind of stat you love because Matt Campbell, for his 10 years at Iowa State, has talked about winning in the margins. And Iowa State hasn't always done that. They've lost some games in the margins. But this truly is winning in the margins. One penalty for 5 yards.
Even that was a disputed one. Yeah, it wasn't a bad one.
Yeah, that's like trying to affect the snap count of the offense. But one penalty for 5 yards in your first game, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of turnovers, some blown plays on defense. Those are, I guess, margins also. But I mean, I know everybody knows what he's talking about, and we agree.
Yep.
I mean, they some of those things are just going to happen during a football game. Other things just seem like really, truly unforced errors. And we did see there was a time where Matt Campbell didn't have this thing turned around yet, and he was saying win in the margins, and they were losing in the margins, right? I mean, they were hurting themselves. They were making stupid, immature, reactionary penalties and just bad plays. And, it looked like a team that was not focused. It looked like a team that he didn't have control over.
Yeah, maybe they didn't quite believe the process yet.
Yeah. And, when somebody acts like that, when his one action affects the whole team, I mean, the really good teams will never let that stand. I mean, that just will never let that stand. I mean, if you look back at the stories of, I remember reading a book on the Steelers of the 70s, and just the level of accountability for every single thing that went on with that team, where it didn't matter if you had a messy locker or if you blew a tackle, you were going to hear about it from the top veterans on the team. You're going to get called on the carpet by them.
Yeah,
and so
accountability.
everybody paid attention to every last detail. And, when things are working, it's easier to, say that and believe in that kind of stuff. But, man, somebody had to start somewhere with this program in implementing that. And then they just had to keep hammering it over and over again until the whole culture began to shift in that direction. And I feel like it has, because Iowa State is one of the least penalized teams that's out there. It looks like a very disciplined team where guys are always buying in, and you see a lot of depth. I mean, you see guys that come in after they had a lot of injuries last year. Guys kept coming in. They may not have starred, but they came in and they plugged gaps. They did well enough. So
right.
That's a culture change.
Quickie polls from WCI, pools and spas in Ames and Urbandale.
Of these choices, whose rep gained the most from Iowa State's trip to Ireland? Is it Cyclone fans, Guinness, Matt Campbell, or Rocco Becht?
You
heard a lot of nice things said about Guinness. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people converted to Guinness. That going with the old, it tastes different here.
Yeah.
Cyclone fans showed up strong. I'm still blown away by that pep rally photo of Jamie Pollard and President Winterstein. Yeah, here's the photo right here from Iowa State Athletics. I don't know what the count was, but that looks like more than 15,000 people to me. I mean, that is packed.
That's a lot of people.
I can't believe that photo in Dublin. I mean, jeez. That's a lot of people. And I know K-State showed up strong too. That's impressive. I think, well, it might be Rocco Becht, whose rep gained the most here, because he is kind of an overlooked national quarterback. And there are a lot of people outside the state of Iowa. They're like, hey, Rocco Becht deserves more praise. He didn't play perfectly, but when it counted, he was great.
Yeah, that would be my choice here. I just think that, a couple of perfectly executed touchdown passes, just some real poise down the stretch and kind of piloting his team to where they needed to be, doing it all in the offense in the second half. I mean, this was not a stat line game for him. It was a gutty game, and it was a game of limited but really profound impressions. Right? I mean, the things that you remember about Rocco Becht in this game are probably going to stay with you for a while. I mean, I think they hit pretty deep.
Now, the history of the Aer Lingus Football Classic doesn't go back that far, but the teams do have in the past struggled. So you can't really make assumptions out of this yet, but it sure looks good. However, Matt Campbell says Iowa State's schedule sets the Cyclones up to fail.
Hopefully, if I make anybody mad, I really don't care. So I think we're set up for failure because I think this is the hardest schedule in the country. And the reality of it is, we go home and we play an incredible South Dakota team that's coming in. And they had a great year. You're talking about a team that's in the Final Four, right? And then obviously you play another huge rival game that's going to have emotion. And then somehow we're on the road at an Arkansas State team that we know is super talented. That's the first quarter of our football season. And it's going to take everything we got. And I think our kids know that. We've talked about that, and that's not an excuse. Nobody really cares, and we don't care. We just know that's the schedule at hand, and it's going to take everything that we've got the ability to do to be our best in the moment. So I think it's a great challenge. Winning the game is great, but the reality of it is how we grow from this game. Can we handle the trip back home? Man, can we be ready for next Saturday? And, that unbelievable fan base, it was awesome to have them here tonight, but we're going to need them times 10 every step of the way from here, and so hopefully this will keep them coming.
So Matt Campbell's still coaching. You knew he would. It's not the toughest schedule in the country. It's a challenging schedule, and the parity of the Big 12 is partly what makes it really fun for college football fans. It feels like there's more consistency across the board in depth. It's not the toughest schedule in the country. Yes, South Dakota was in the Final Four of FCS. They weren't in the college football playoff Final Four, but we get what he's doing here. We got to go to Arkansas State. I mean, that's a talented team right there. You're not going to Ohio State.
He's trying to guard against a couple of major letdowns, right? Potential major letdowns.
But he knows what he's doing here. He's coaching. He's going to hammer this all week that South Dakota's coming in here for a reputation maker. Better be ready or we're going to lose that game.
I honestly, I thought that he was going to – I thought he could have really built a good argument here, right? I mean, I thought maybe that was where he was going, where he was going to say, look, we have to come home and play a South Dakota team that is, absolutely putting a giant target on our back, and they have everything to play for and nothing to lose here. And we're going to get their best shot, and we're going to have to try to maintain this level of high, which is going to be really difficult for us to do. And point that out, and then say, and then we have to play Iowa, and we know how difficult they are. And then he gives Iowa their proper due, and then he skips over Arkansas State, and then points out stuff like, even our home games this year, we've got the conference champs in Arizona State that we have to host.
Right.
We got to host a Kansas team that kicked our ass last year. And you could really kind of build a compelling argument out of that first sentence of his statement there. But as soon as he calls South Dakota an incredible team, you're like, oh, all right.
And goes by Iowa pretty quickly.
Oh, but he throws shade at them, kind of. Yeah, right.
But he doesn't need to sell his players or fans or anybody on the emotion needed for the Iowa game, so he can skip right by that. What he's worried about is a letdown against South Carolina and not being ready on the road in Arkansas State. So any given Saturday, you can lose. But this is psychology that Hayden Fry would have been proud of here.
I think
I'm going to say it. I'm just going to go ahead and say I don't care if people are mad at me. We got the toughest schedule in the country.
Yeah, and this is the time that you can say that. I mean, your fans will eat up anything, and you are truly worried about a letdown. They should be, right?
I mean, they'll have jet lag.
They have set themselves up in an incredible position. They haven't been in a better position than this before at this point of the season. I mean, they got a top 20 win against a conference rival, and they didn't have to do it at home. I mean, that's just an incredible trifecta. Right there that they got with one win. And, oh, my God, who can imagine what would happen if somehow things let down this coming weekend? I mean, it would be catastrophic. So I get where he's coming from. Just, maybe a little less mustard.
No, he's going to go. He's going all in here because it's all in front of Iowa State at this point. Interact on YouTube, on X. It's Murph_Andy. The email is Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com. It's all powered by Cellular Advantage, where you can now get the best of T-Mobile's #1 ranked national plan with U.S. Cellular's #1 ranked Iowa plan. Best of both worlds.
You know what I did yesterday? I literally talked on the phone from Hannibal, Missouri, all the way back to the outskirts of Des Moines. I talked to my friend Steve the entire time. Really long phone conversation. And
when you're driving is the best
reception was
time to
perfect.
talk to you. I mean, because you
Yeah.
like passing the time in a conversation. Like, Andy's calling?
Yeah.
Oh, he must be driving.
Yeah, I talked to you on the way down. But I mean, the point is, Murph, not how hard it is to get my attention on the phone. It is that the coverage was great with my U.S. Cellular and Cellular Advantage.
Yeah, you've got the best of both
Didn't drop
worlds
out at
already.
all. I mean, like southeastern Iowa was a black hole for
You
years.
got those fireworks stands, on each side.
Yeah, northern Missouri is like its own time zone. It's another world. They usually always drop out. Not this time. Not anymore.
Bleacher Report's best college football players of this century, starting in 2000. Number 3, Reggie Bush.
God, he was good.
He was so good.
He was so good.
Number 2, Cam Newton. And number 1, Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
I'm kind of good with those. Those
Tim
three were
Tebow's
great.
results were he was a running quarterback in the days of college football where there were lots of running quarterbacks.
I think his passing stats will surprise you,
probably.
but the reason Tebow didn't succeed in the NFL, one of the reasons is at Florida, when he was passing downfield, his guys usually had 5 to 10 yards of open space between the receiver, the tight end, and the defensive back. You don't get that in the NFL. I mean, Florida had so many mismatches. Those guys would be at times wide open, but he did have a ton of passing yards and touchdowns too. But those are 3 great players, 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Reggie Bush is my pick out of those. A player that every time he was on the field, certainly every time he had the ball.
Jeez, look at that photo. That's great.
He was like Christian McCaffrey in that. I mean, he was so much better than everybody else around him. He was on a loaded USC team, a couple of them. But he was so good that he was a threat to score, and not just a threat to score, but a threat to give you a next level highlight on his way to score like this.
Speaking of Christian McCaffrey, how's Stanford doing in the new world of traveling over to the Atlantic coast to play football?
I watched a little of them play in Hawaii.
They lost. They lost that game.
Yeah,
and they're coming off a 3-win season.
I can't ever watch a game involving Hawaii and not just wonder the whole time what it's like to play football for Hawaii. Right? If you're just on the plane all the time.
Yeah.
And then just everybody that comes to visit you is just, it's a vacation.
Right. Yeah. That's got to be the case. Now here's Matt Campbell returning to the press conference to talk about Iowa State's black uniforms.
That's that.
Hey, somebody asked me a question. Hey, I'm going to finish with this. Now, Rob, you got to ask me a question about the color black. Because I heard their athletic director made a comment about the color black. Could you give us a question about why Iowa State wears black? Yeah, why is it? Well, Rob, we don't really care what color we wear, okay? Like, it's never been about a jersey color for us. It's never been about any of that. It's been about team, togetherness, and playing winning football. So I appreciate the question. Go Cyclones. All right.
Good job, Coach.
My main takeaway from this is Matt Campbell is happy and he's feeling relaxed enough to come in there. It's a typical Matt Campbell in front of the media thing where it doesn't really even make sense because, of course, the jersey colors do matter to them. It's why they wear black instead of the school colors so much of the time because Matt Campbell, dressed all in black, does love to wear black. And Jamie Pollard is smart enough to say, if this helps keep Matt Campbell in Ames, he can have the team wear whatever uniforms they want. So his main point there is he's having fun, but he's also pushing back on K-State's AD and saying, why don't you worry less about our uniforms and more about trying to beat us?
Man, I wish he would have said that instead.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. I mean, he just kind of teed it up for himself and then just really gave you a very cliched answer.
Yeah. And
He's
asking to
feeling
have the
good.
question said back to you.
Yeah, ask me a question about the black uniforms.
What about the
black uniforms? Who
we
was
don't
that?
care
Rob-
about the black uniforms.
Who was he? Rob
Gray. Yeah, from
Rob
Cyclone
Gray. Yeah,
Fanatic.
Rob Gray. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, of course, Rob Gray. Yeah, what if Rob had thrown him some sidearm curveball where it was not the question he was expecting?
Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Confluence proudly serving the new light lager Old Tavern. Thank you, Confluence. Now, here on a Monday, let's get some more.
But wait, there's more. From Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Absolutely perfect week to head over to Either Or. Inside
is.
or outside. This is why you build a patio, hoping that the weather is like this all the time. Of course, it's not. So when it is, you take advantage. What a great place to take your family to celebrate the end of the first day of school or maybe the first week of school.
I'd take this weather next week for RV TV. Can we order this up again?
I think we can. I feel like it looked all right spilling into next week, as Parkin was talking
Good.
about last night. It looked
Anything
really
but rain, too.
Recognized as the world's biggest garden trowel, the sculpture Plantoir on the campus of People Inc., formerly Meredith, formerly regular Meredith, in the western gateway of downtown. It's about to get yanked out of the ground and sold.
It's going to take a big hand.
Yeah, that sucks. This is I mean, it's funny. It's just a garden trowel, but I love this sculpture.
That's a trowel? I don't think I've ever said that word. That's a trowel.
Yeah, a little digger, like hand digger for planting bulbs and stuff. And it just seems like it. I hope it's staying in Iowa. Where else do you put this? It's got to go in a yard. You can't put it on a hard floor, like somebody's digging into the floor. Right? I mean, it's got to stay outside. It's too bad. That whole campus has really changed. Just the whole business, magazine business, that whole world, that Meredith world. Wow, that used to be just iconic. Gigantic.
Juggernaut.
Yeah. People Inc. announced on Friday it has sold the sculpture. It's not at liberty to disclose where the artwork will go or the price that was paid. I'm sure it wasn't cheap. But it's leaving. It's kind of too crowded over it. I love the fact that Des Moines has lots of sculptures. We're kind of a city of sculptures. Always felt like we should lean into that more.
It's a place where people take their kids for like graduation and prom photos too. You can always, at certain times of the year, you see the parents and the kids and the concerned look on the occasional father's face of, shouldn't the dress be a little longer than that?
Or just how many pictures of Des Moines or picture collages of Des Moines feature that sculpture in it?
Yeah, because it's unique. Pops.
Yeah, it pops. It seems like Iowa, and it's easy to find. It's always got that beautifully manicured lawn around it and the nice building, so it's got a good backdrop. It's too bad that it's going away. We won't have that anymore. Khalees Crowder, a 38-year-old man known to police and really the world as the butt sniffer, was arrested again in Burbank, California after allegedly sniffing a woman's butt at a Walgreens. See, the last time he got busted, he was in Nordstrom Rack, and he was like hiding among the clothes.
So he's now a serial butt sniffer?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think he already was before that. Store employees recognized him. He's pretty distinctive looking. Doesn't he look like a guy that he would be listening to their butts instead of smelling them? This is his second arrest for similar behavior following a July incident at the Nordstrom Rack.
Don't get the appeal here.
But he's also a registered sex offender, currently on parole with a history of similar offenses in Glendale and Burbank dating back to 2021. He's back at, maybe the bail wasn't set high enough. A new study from Mindset Therapy calls Mario Kart the most stressful game of all time.
Oh, goodness. This is like driving in Ireland.
It raises the heart rate of players by an average of 33%.
That's probably not good because a lot of these players haven't gotten out of the chair in a few weeks.
Do you guys still play Mario Kart at your house, Andrew? You and Charlie?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Can he beat you?
No. My wife can, but my son can't yet.
Eddie can now beat me at Mario Kart. That's kind
rough.
of that's a milestone.
That is.
Yeah,
right there.
that's a rite of passage right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good at Mario Kart. And my blood pressure goes up when he's beating me because he rubs it in.
Oh, sure. Wonder where he got that.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Now here's the governor of Alabama with a bit of an outburst over the COVID vaccines.
We're getting a slight increase in the number of doses that we'll be getting to the state.
Is that real?
Of course. Yeah, it's 100% real. You've been talking to Sipker or something? Yeah.
That's deep, man. That
brought up some lunch.
That came from her ancestors.
There was a Oh, that brought some party favors with it when it walked in the door. That was from the diaphragm. That was deep. From the files of some headlines don't need stories, we bring you this. Ozempic vulva is making women look aged and droopy down there.
Well, what?
I'll spare you the details. I'll just add that I don't think there's ever a headline involving vulva that actually makes you want to read the story.
Is your name Mulva?
Mulva? No, it rhymes with a female body part. Mulva? No, Dolores. Finish up with this. A TikTok influencer, Jen Hamilton. This is really good, actually. This is really, really good.
Okay. Trying to get over that last story, but
that
I'm
belch.
ready.
Oh no, the vulva. Yeah, the Ozempic vulva. This is really genius here. I want to know more about all these things. This influencer asked all her followers to share their most unhinged automation hacks. Specifically pointed out, though, that she didn't want responses like, my bills are on auto pay. No, she wanted something people automated that completely changed their lives.
Okay.
Got more than 11,000 comments offering ideas. Here are some of the best. Quote, our dishwasher texts our kids when it's done, which you can do through a smart home. If you got a Wi-Fi dishwashers hooked up through a smart home app, I'm sure you've got to pay for a subscription too, but it texts our kids when it's done. Then it shuts off their Wi-Fi if they don't empty it.
Oh, that's the next step that makes this work. Because just texting them, that's not going to help that much.
No, it shuts their Wi-Fi off.
That will do it.
I started giving my cats a treat every time I took my meds. Now the cats are the world's most persistent and intense medication reminders. Cat comes, oh, yeah, time to take my meds. It works. It's a good idea. Wow. My alarm stops only if I scan a QR code in my bathroom. Now, that's somebody who has a hard time getting out of bed.
Yeah. I know people like that.
Yeah, right, yeah. At the same time every year, I tell my bank I lost my credit card, so I get issued a new one. All the scammers and subscriptions I signed up for the year prior will automatically get declined, and I only re-sign the ones I actually want.
That sounds like more work than I want to take part in, but I see the wisdom in it.
It's hard to remember all the subscriptions that you've got and all the
is.
different places that you've given your text, your credit card. I mean, really, and you can get scammed. The longer it's out there, the greater risk you're at. I think that's genius. I made an Apple shortcut that runs once a day automatically that shows me all the photos I took on that day throughout the years. It allows me to obviously look back on those days, but also to slowly clean up all of my photo albums.
I do need to do that.
Why have I kept those photos? Those are terrible photos. Delete those. That's a good idea. I'm sure you mean technology, but I bought 12 pairs of the exact same socks, so I never have to match them. If one gets a hole, I just throw that one out. It's very satisfying, the system.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And finally, I hid an air tag in my car, so I never have to remember where I parked. Also helpful if it's stolen. This is really good. And I was listening to a podcast on the way down to St. Louis, and they had an ad for Skechers shoes for kids.
Step-ins?
No. They had a spot to put an air tag in the shoe.
Oh.
And they were talking about, they're like, this will keep you from losing your kids' shoes. How genius is this? No more losing your kids' shoes. And I'm like, have I ever lost my kids' shoes? Have my kids lost their shoes? Probably not very often. And you're like, oh, no. They're saying it that way in the ad in case you have kids in the car. And you're doing that so you can keep track of your kids, not so they're not losing. So, so they don't know that they're tagged or whatever. And if they're little kids, it probably doesn't matter. But, isn't that really probably what that's for?
Could be. It also implies that if worst case, somebody takes your kids.
Well, yeah, but you can keep track of
their
them.
shoes.
Yeah, you can keep track of them.
You don't want to put that in a commercial for Skechers. If your kids are kidnapped.
Yeah, that's probably a better point. Yeah, you don't want to put that out there for people to check. But yeah, that does sound. I think that sounds kind of genius. I kind of like all those. All right, that's your more, everybody.
All right, thank you, Andy. It is now time for Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Let's throw it down. Powered by Heartland Tire and Auto, an authorized agent of both Firestone and Bridgestone Tires. Murph, Saturday, Iowa State hosts a top 5 FCS team in South Dakota, while Iowa hosts an Albany team that is not supposed to be very good. Which game is more interesting?
Outside fandom, it's the Iowa State game because you have a far better opponent. It's an FCS opponent, but it is a good FCS opponent. What's Iowa State, like a 15-point favorite in this game? Iowa is favored by 38 or 9. May not win by that much. Kirk Ferentz doesn't usually try to embarrass these paid opponents that are coming in to lose. There are reasons for Hawkeye fans to be excited. First football game, the tailgating that comes with it, good weather, first look at Gronowski, how's he going to look, all of that. But the fans know they're playing the Albany Great Danes. The Cyclone fans are sky high after what happened Saturday against Kansas State. So I just think that's going to be the better atmosphere. But last I knew, it was not sold out. Iowa is at least sold out at this point. Iowa State should be sold out Saturday.
Yeah, for sure it should be. The tailgate lot is going to be sold out.
Yeah.
First 2 offensive series for Iowa, that's the more interesting game because you're looking at Mark Gronowski. Everybody wants to see him. You want to see what he looks like, right? The rest of the game, it's the Iowa State game because it should be a more competitive. But, when you have when's the last time there was a really, Cade McNamara, that didn't have to go. He just flopped so quickly, it seemed like. But you have a new, highly touted quarterback coming in. It's hard to beat that level of anticipation. Everybody wants to see him.
All right, Andy. So far in the NFL preseason, we've seen made field goals of 63, 64, and 70 yards, all from different kickers. Is it a good or bad development that the NFL field goal range is right around the 50-yard line?
I'm not sick of it yet. I think it's cool. A field goal over 60 yards is cool. A field goal over 50 yards is no big deal. Even in college, we're seeing that. From Iowa State, we're seeing that. But I'm not tired of this yet. The idea of being that far away and be able to put you're so far away from
that
the
ball
end
is
zone.
on the other 40.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
To still be within striking distance from there is at this point still interesting to me.
I think that the NFL is bleeding us dry with all of their demands and all the money we have to spend to follow it. So I think they need to do everything possible to take out plays that are not that interesting. They tried with the extra points, but it's still way too close for these guys. They need to either make it automatic that you have to go for 2, or I think it's time to start discussing moving the goalposts in by quite a bit, making it a harder target, like in indoor football where the goalposts are quite a bit more together. Maybe not that drastic, but make it more interesting. They are fixing the kickoff this year where you're almost certain to try to land it in that landing zone and have the ball run back out. Otherwise, it comes out to the 35-yard line, and this guy is almost where he can kick a field goal from there. So, yeah, get the boring plays out of football, especially with all the money you're demanding from us.
Murph, we've got a great early fall forecast this week, just in time for football season. What is, in your mind, perfect football weather?
I think it's pretty close to what we have today and for the next couple of days. I like it low 70s and sunny. I mean, it's hard to improve on that. It's basically open the windows day, don't even need the AC on type thing.
Yeah, give me a few weeks of that. But then I think as you get into the football season, I kind of want some crispness in the air.
50s.
Where you got a sweatshirt on by the end of the game. I do kind of like that, as silly as that sounds. But give me a first 2-3 weeks where it's nice and warm, and I don't have to worry about bringing extra clothes to me into the game.
I like that.
Yeah, that's Throwdowns.
All right, thank you, AD. Send your Grimaldi's fan photos to Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. These guys look vaguely familiar. I don't think they're at Grimaldi's, though, AD.
No, this is a fan photo sent in by Chris Williams. That's him and his buddy Adam Carper enjoying one last Guinness, 4:30 a.m. Ireland time, Sunday morning after staying up all night after that game.
That Chris worked hard over there once he, put his nose down for the few days of football. But what a trip he and the Carpers had. I mean, they were there like 9 days.
Yeah, they were there a long time.
Yeah,
with his whole family. Yeah, that was probably quite a bit of wrangling for him and Ashley.
And I think we can tell by the shirt Chris is wearing here that he was out of laundry by this point. He's just starting to wear the V-neck T-shirt out in public.
Just the undershirt.
Yeah, just going out in the undershirt. He's just out of clothes. So send your fan photos in each Friday. $50 gift card to Grimaldi's, and it is a great time of the year to be able to stop in West Des Moines or the district at Prairie Trail and either take out a Grimaldi's pizza or go in and watch some football and have it. It's really good. So thank you for that. That's a really nice prize, $50 gift card. It is time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day, the AD Squared.
Yeah, when you're at that Ankeny Grimaldi's, walk across the street to Game Day Men's Health and get a free consultation. They'll do some lab work, check out your testosterone levels, and talk to you about what you're looking for in your health journey, and they can help you with just about all of it. Game Day Men's Health, wherever you are, there's one near you. It is fantasy football season, guys. I know you're not really into it, but I've already had one draft. I've got another one this week. It's a lot of fun for a lot of reasons. Camaraderie, having a rooting interest in games where you maybe don't care otherwise, and also making your friends feel and look like idiots.
Hey, Chad, where's Tyler?
Paying the price.
For what?
Losing.
What was that last car?
The last car looked like something out of a cartoon. What was it? Something out of Cars, the movie.
That is the most you'll hear out of Tyler right there.
Tyler doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's usually good. So, AD, you play fantasy football. I know I overheard Sipker and I overheard Kay. They're talking about it a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
You guys are all playing together. I don't play fantasy football. I didn't like the way it changed the way I watched football, so I don't do it anymore. But the groups you're in, do you have a punishment like that where the guy who finishes in last place has to be humiliated?
Never had that kind of a punishment. No, it's always been just kind of like a money thing. But I've always heard of fun things like that. There'll be where you have to go to like a 24-hour, like a Waffle House, and you either have to sit there for 24 hours, and every waffle you eat, it takes 1 hour off of the time you have to stay there. So if you can get 15 waffles down, you only have to be there for 9 hours. I know like Bill Simmons has this league with a bunch of famous people, John Hamm and Jimmy Kimmel, and you show up at the draft and they have one extra person in their league. They have an odd number. And the winner from last year's league gets to kick somebody out of the league for a year, but you don't do it until the draft. So you prepare, you're ready to play, you show up to the draft.
Wow.
And the first thing that happens is they kick you out of the league for a year. You just have to leave. Like John Hamm just has to go home, and he'll come back next year and be part of the league again.
That's rough. That's
wow. That's a fun one.
That seems like it could even anger the wrong person.
Oh, absolutely.
If it happened. Yeah, these punishments are fun. Like in that video you just saw there from Sound Off, Chad, one of our directors, he's shining the trophy that he won for winning the Fantasy Football League. And then Tyler, another director, that's him out by the that's at the corner of MLK and Ingersoll there, which that's a rough place to stand with a I suck at honk if I suck at fantasy football.
Lot of traffic there.
Oh,
yeah.
A lot of traffic. Yeah, and there usually is somebody standing there. They're just not usually holding a fantasy football sign.
No, they're holding a different sign.
Quickie poll results presented by WCI Pools and Spas and Ames in Urbandale.
Of these choices, whose rep gained the most from Iowa State's trip to Ireland? Rocco Becht is your leader at 34% of the vote. 27% say Cyclone fans, who I'm sure feel like they impressed everybody in Iowa.
They did.
23% say Matt Campbell, and then 17% go with Guinness.
That's Chris Williams in his V-neck T-shirt, undershirt. That's who said that. Hey, it's good to have football back. Thank you for being part of Murph and Andy here on Iowa Everywhere, and thank you for supporting local media. Please like and subscribe. Invite your friends. Please ask them to like and subscribe. It helps us out. And we're back Wednesday with another live Murph and Andy. We hope you'll join us then.
Murph and Andy was brought to you by Ramsey Subaru on Hickman Road in Urbandale.